everybody, this is Heather Coleman, your intuitive medium and spiritual guide. Welcome to our 3-card heads up with the jumper. So it's actually a 4-card heads up for the week of August 7th through the 13th. So I think without any further ado, I'm going to show you the cards to give you a little bit of time to just kind of let them marinate. Now, whatever your process is for tuning into your intuition, whether that's, if you're anything, maybe you're like me, maybe. Whenever I listen to a podcast, as soon as the person says there are 4 cards, I'll hear a number in my head for which one is for me. Sometimes it's more than one. So maybe that's already happening for you. Cool. But maybe not. Maybe when you see the cards, you'll just sort of have a knowing of which one or ones is for you. We have had certain weeks where the cards just present as one continuous message. This week, I think most, if not all of you, are going to be drawn strongly to one card, maybe just to one, but that doesn't mean you should skip the entire video because there are messages interwoven into the entire thing. So this week, notice where you're drawn. I think for most of you, it's going to be mainly one card, maybe one, a little bit of another. But with that being said, still tune in because you might think of it like it's a 3-chapter thing. One chapter is for you, but you at least want to get the highlights of the other chapters so you understand the chapter that's for you. So with that being said, we've got card number 1 here. Card number 1. We've got card number 2 right here. We've got card number 3. The deck that we are using this week is, in fact, a deck that I haven't used in quite a while, so it's nice to have this back out again. Ask Your Guides by Sonia Choquette. A picture of the author. I hope you can see that. I really like this deck, especially for people who are new to all of this. But it's not just for people who are new. But the reason I especially like this for people who are new and or people that are trying to get more familiar with their spirit guides, the reason I like this deck so much is that each card, I'm going to show you this with some cards that are not part of our reading necessarily, but see, each of them tells you which classification of guides is really strong. Like that one says nature spirits. This one says warrior guides. This one says spirit teachers. Some of them say higher self. So what I like about this, and I'm going to remind you as we get to each card, is which class of guides is really highlighted with each card, because it's going to tell you who is really good for you to be focusing on this week. But that being said, that doesn't mean that you should only focus on those guides. If you're feeling certain angels really strongly this week or certain guides, in addition to this, don't discount that. So let's start now with card number 1. Very interesting that we've got Venus, the goddess Venus, on this card. And the card is business. What I find so interesting about this card, and I've drawn this in the past actually, when you look at the imagery, you would really think this would be about love and relationships and having enough money. And you could certainly get that meaning from this. But it's very interesting that it's titled business. And so the message that really does seem to come through every time I draw this card, whether it is for myself or for someone else, the message is that love is really the driving force. When we're working, we're thinking about the bottom line and money and practical things. We do need to think about that. Absolutely 100%. So this is not telling you don't think about that. All this card is saying, however, is that love is the real driving force in business. And if you can stay in touch with that, your profits will be better. Your bottom line will be better. Big part of that is trusting in the process, seeing the bigger picture, seeing those long-term goals, having a vision. And when you're connected to your highest path, love, if you're working with the divine to create business plans, career plans, goals, you are going to be successful. You may have some quote unquote failings or losses in the short term for a better long term. So keep in mind that if you are approaching your business or your income, your finances from a place of love, you are going to be super, super successful in the long term. So always remember to put your love into your business, into your career goals, into your financial goals. Oh, and one last message. Don't forget to, when you set goals for your spending or your saving, to come from a place of love, to come from a place of self-love. Don't forget yourself. So that is card number 1, business. The jumper, there was a jumper with this, and that's going to come up now, actually. That's going to come up now. Solitude with a higher self. So if this speaks to you, this is a message to say, carve out some alone time, because that allows us to hear the wisdom of our higher self. Sometimes it's hard to hear the wisdom of our higher self when we spend all of our time with somebody or we're around other people all the time. So carve out some solitude and call on your higher self. Call on your higher self. Card number 2 for this week, pleasure. I notice a lot of this nice warm color imagery. This was card number 1. Card number 2, we've got pleasure with the divine goddess. Make yourself happy is the message with this. You know, if you this week, this month, have a choice of doing, let's say, one more thing for someone else, maybe your children or your coworkers or your work, but you've already done a lot for that person, place, or thing. So if you find yourself, say, one day you have a choice to go do something or go somewhere that is for your pleasure or for somebody else, do you. But again, don't forget the first part of that. This would apply to something. Here's an example. There was earlier this summer, I had a choice to do, I think it was a professional event or to go to a dance with my daughter. And in that case, I was doing what was best for her, but I chose to go to the dance because it would bring me more pleasure. I didn't want to work that night. But another example of that is there was one night that I could have stayed home and worked. And it would have been good, but I went to a dance because it brought me pleasure. So that's just an example. This week, if you have a choice for a day, whether it's to do something that is just for you, that makes you happy, that makes your heart sing, like dancing does for me, or to do something that it will benefit someone else, you need to put you first, card number 2, people. So put your pleasure first. Card number 2, people. You really need to right now. It's important for you. And just don't forget that it's so important for your mental health. We tend to forget when we are adults that play is essential for our mental health. We know that kids need it, but we forget that we need play as adults. Now, card number 3. Again, this is our Ask Your Guides deck by Sonia Choquette, a deck that I really, really like. We've got our healer guides, our healing guides. So that's the first thing to be aware of if you're drawn to card number 3 is that you need, if you're drawn to this, the chances are very, very high that you're in need of some emotional healing at this time. And when we look at the title loss, and you just look at this and you can tell from this imagery, this seems to be about sorrow. Whatever kind of loss you're dealing with, whether it's recent or maybe you're just feeling it very strongly this week or month. Maybe you're thinking about someone you lost years ago, but you're just very sad about it for some reason. Take some time to sit with your feelings and call on your healer guides to help you with the grief process. And I want to talk just a little bit about this. Calling on the healer guides, what you might find surprising if you start doing this on a regular basis is how much they will pull you through your emotional process and guide you through what to feel and when. And I'm going to say this. This next thing is my opinion. I'm going to give you my opinion. In my opinion, the only person or people that we should ever allow to tell us how to feel is our highest level guides, our spirit guides, our healer guides. And when I say tell us how to feel, what they're doing is they're telling us in that moment what emotion to pull up and process. There are times that my own spirit guides will tell me to let myself feel sad or angry at a place that I don't think I'm supposed to, but just to let it flow. And the results are always very, very good when I do. Like at work, for example, when I'm at work, teaching fitness, not even doing this. There are other times that I might be upset something happened, or I might be ruminating on something. And you know what? My guides will say, they're like, all right, now just say, let it go. It's fine. Be happy. And this is what I find. When they tell me that I'm actually able to do it, I can let go of that thought and feel happier. They will never say this to me at a time when I can't let go of a thought. They'll actually say, you know what, you need to get more sad about that or get more angry. So the reason I mentioned all of this is that if you can regularly call on your healer guides to help you through your emotional process through loss, it will be a much richer, deeper, more thorough and more fulfilling process than if you try to do this strictly with your own human sensibilities. So the best way to start, if this is new to you, is just to regularly, several times a day, out loud or in your mind, say, healer guides, please help me through this emotional process of this loss. Whatever it is you've lost, a person, a situation, whatever it is, call on your healer guides to help you, because that's what they're there for. And also call on the angels. Also call on the angels. So I hope that this week's card messages have given you some insight and peace and some clarity. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to this video. Click the bell for notifications so you never miss a new video. We've got a 3-card heads up every week. And also every week we have a learn video alternates with a yoga meditation. So I hope you are having a beautiful week. My website is heatherlcoleman.com. Much peace, much love, and namaste.